Imagination Can Rock Your World, Part 2. Hi, I'm Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind. And today we continue with our discussion started yesterday on my assertion that imagination can rock your world. Now, most of us discount our imagination because society has convinced us that what appears in our imagination is not real. Well, first of all, let me say this. Nothing happens in this world without it first appearing in our imaginations. Even as something as mundane as writing down your shopping list involves imagination, because you have to picture in your mind what items are in need of replenishing. You don't go around checking every shelf to see what's low. You have it in your imagination. You have it in your mind, your memory. So if you use your imagination to do mundane things like writing down a shopping list, then of course, the things you want to see in your life can be part of your imagination. It's just a short step to imagining what you want in your life, what you want your life to be. It's as simple as writing down a shopping list. Imagination actually creates miracles. If you can see it in your mind, then it is possible. You know, that was the song several years ago, I Believe I Can Fly. If I can see it, I can be it. Albert Einstein said, there are only two ways to live your life. One is if nothing is a miracle, or the other is though everything is a miracle. And Dr. Michael Grosso seems to agree with that sentiment in his statement. Researchers have found from many types of studies that the less rigid one's mindset, the more likely it is that a paranormal force or idea will break into experience. The more unworldly our minds, the more detached from habitual patterns of response, the greater is our openness to the promptings from a higher reality principle. The more likely it is that extraordinary things will occur in our lives. So shutting down our minds, shutting down our imagination because somebody tried to impose their vision of reality on us is simply mental suicide. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. Our imaginations are our direct connection to God. Remember Neville Goddard said, imagination is God. Our imagination is our direct connection to God. It is through our imaginations that we can change our world. Hard-nosed realists love to use words like, it's just your imagination, or it's all in your head. So the first thing we must do in the work of empowering our imagination, making our imaginations more powerful, making our imaginations more effective, making our imaginations so that they bring our lives into a space that we want it to sooner, the first thing we got to do is throw out that nonsense of people saying it's just your imagination. Throw it out. Throw it out. Because your imagination is powerful. Please click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. You can subscribe in the lower left-hand corner there with the logo. Remember, I'd love to hear from you, your questions, your thoughts, your suggestions. So please use the chat box on the right side of the screen or the comment section below the video. Okay? Now, let's get back to the power of our imaginations. Jim Carrey. We all know Jim, or most of us know Jim Carrey, the movie star. He's worth about $180 million. $180 million. But in 1985, he was flat broke, and he was having serious doubts about his being a successful entertainer. It was his dream, but he was having failure after failure after failure. So one day, in 1985, he was broke and he was depressed. So he drove his old beat-up Toyota up into the Hollywood Hills. And as he was sitting there overlooking the city of Los Angeles in all its sprawling glory, he daydreamed of being successful. And then to make himself feel better, he wrote himself a check for $10 million. And then he notated that check for $10 million with the notes, acting services rendered. Then he post-dated it for 10 years later. He post-dated it for 1995 and put it in his wallet. And he carried it in his wallet all the time after that. It got all tattered and worn out. But 9 years later, in 1994, he performed in the movie Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. That movie generated over $100 million in revenue. And Jim Carrey became a star. And within 2 years after that, he was making $20 million per movie. Imagination creates miracles. So what is a miracle? Well, according to a dictionary, a miracle is a surprising and welcome event that cannot be explained by natural or scientific laws and is therefore considered to be the work of a divine agency. A divine agency. Your imagination is your connection to the divine. It is the direct way of instantly talking to infinite intelligence. Imagination is more powerful than words because it works in pictures. And you've all heard the statement, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So after you accept the fact that you are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence, the next step is to believe that you can have what you want. Believe that you deserve it. Believe that you are worthy of it. Believe it. Or according to the direction in the New Testament book of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 7, ask, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. In your asking, you must be clear and strong to truly invoke the laws of attraction to respond to your imagination. Clear in what it is you want, clear in what you're looking for, clear and strong in that request. And then you must be prepared to do the work that is needed to get you to where you want to go. Work? Why? Because you have to be prepared to handle it when it comes your way. You got to be prepared to handle it. You got to be prepared to deliver. You got to be prepared to organize it or do the things that you're being paid to do. Most lottery winners are not prepared to handle their gift. And so they lose it. They spend it up and invest it badly. They don't pre-think what it is they've got to do. They don't organize themselves. They don't get the right advice and the right legal team working with them. So they lose it. Jim Carrey makes millions of dollars because why? He is prepared to deliver what he is being paid millions of dollars to do, to entertain. So how can you empower your imagination so that it is strong and clear? Okay, the next step to empowering your imagination is the clear understanding that everything is in a state of motion. Get that in your head. It is not solid. It is not stationary. Nothing is solid. Nothing is stationary. It is all in motion. The next thing that has to be impressed upon your consciousness, and I hope that by now it is that infinite intelligence is in control of what we see. Not us. Infinite intelligence is in control at all times. So, when you're doing this work and building your imagination, remember you are not making it happen. Infinite intelligence is making it happen. You are not the one doing the work. Infinite intelligence is doing the work. Remember the words of Jesus when he said, "It is the Father within that doeth the work." It is the Father within that doeth the work. Therefore, Only infinite intelligence has the power to change your world into what you're asking for. But it changes your world through you, because you're the one invoking the imagination. You're the one that is out picturing what it is you want. Of course, a lot of people tell me they can't use their imaginations because they have a hard time visualizing. They say that their minds do not create pictures in their heads. So imagining is not something that they can do. Well, let me say this. If your mind is like that, if imagination is something that you're having trouble with because you cannot visualize, remember this. Your ability to create visual images is not the only way that your imagination works. Imagination involves all of the senses, all of the senses. Your sense of hearing, your sense of touch, your sense of smell. They're all valid expressions of imagination, and they can become powerful tools for you to learn to get what you want through your imagination. So you need to get acquainted with those senses and learn how to work with them. You know, we use our imaginations all the time. We just don't realize it. I know you've had the situation of hearing a piece of music going over and over and over in your head that you can't get rid of. But it's so clear. You got all the instruments there. You can hear it exactly. Well, that's your imagination. That is your imagination. So use it. Cultivate that sense of imagination, that sense of hearing in your head. Think of sounds and recreate them in your mind to help you develop that sense of hearing in your imagination. Imagine your friends congratulating you when you get what it is that you imagine. Imagine feeling them shaking your hands. Yeah, shaking your hand and saying congratulations and whatever it is else they will say. What about smells? Think about how things would smell around you. You know, the maybe the perfumes or the flowers in the vases or whatever. Go back into your memories and remember those moments where there was a distinct aroma. Remember those moments where there was a distinct aroma. What was that smell? Strengthen that smell muscle in your imagination. Use it, use it, use it, use it. Make a point of smelling things around you and paying close attention to how they smell, and then later make a point of remembering that smell in your imagination. For instance, cut grass. Everybody knows the smell. Well, so many of us know the smell of cut grass. It's a very pleasant smell, I've found. Or what about the smell of a Christmas tree, that pine scent? Or what about the smell of the inside of a new car? Or the aroma of pizza? There are so many smells around us. Just pay attention to them. Lock them into your memory. Lock them into your imagination so that you can pull them up later and use them as a tool. Use them to work to recreate in your mind that sense of being where it is you want to be one day. Do the same thing with your sense of touch. Make a point of touching things and being aware of how they feel when you touch them. You know, like a soft sweater, or when you're stroking your cat and dog, or when you rub the desktop. Lock those sensations into your mind, and then later recreate them in your mind as you work to build that muscle, build those sensory muscles inside your imagination. Because then when you begin to imagine something, you can actually be there, fully there, so that it becomes so much more real for you in your imagination, and therefore so much more powerful for you in your imagination. It's critical that it becomes powerful for you, that you can feel it, that you can see it, that you can taste it. Yes. Strengthen and empower your imagination. It will make you more powerful, spiritual warrior. It will make you more powerful. I can remember a time many years ago when I was scheduled to make a speech at a university conscious. I prepared for the speech of course, but I was still a little nervous. One, I didn't have a degree. I didn't get my degree until I was 75, my bachelor's degree. But so I was a little unsure of myself. So to make myself relax and look forward to the event without all the anxiety attached to it, I began to imagine what would happen after I made the speech. I didn't see me making the speech. I wanted to see what would happen after I had completed the speech. And after I completed the speech, I saw the audience giving me a standing ovation. I imagined that I could see them standing up and smiling and applauding me. I imagined that I could hear their hands clapping for me. I imagined that I could feel the emotion and excitement and the pride rising up in my chest as I stood there, receiving the energy of that applause, receiving the energy of that standing ovation. I imagined myself with a big smile on my face, basking in the glow of it. I imagined it, I imagined it, I imagined it, I felt it, I heard it, I saw it. Yes. And the next day when I delivered my speech, I got my standing ovation. Imagination. Remember, I started out this talk with the words, imagination can rock your world. Imagination can change your reality. Learn to work with it. Learn to develop it. Learn how to use it, and it will serve you well. Pay attention to what is around you. Pay attention to what your senses are feeding back to you. And you can use those later in your imagination, and your imagination will be empowered because of it. Let's close with prayer. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence. Thank you for bringing all of us together in this life so that we may become spiritual warriors and join in the work we have come here to do. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing us into this space of awareness and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship to life and infinite intelligence. Thank you for showing us who we really are. We open our minds and hearts to the truth of our being. We are the children of God. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. And because we are part of the greater whole, we're beginning to understand our value to the continuity of life on this planet. And as we become channels of your power, infinite intelligence, we can feel your presence within ourselves and within our lives more and more. We know that as we feel your presence within our lives every day, we will rise because we are no longer cut off from you by being immersed in the darkness of fear, anger, and the pain of unforgiveness. So we are now restoring our connection through the grace of forgiveness, knowing that as we learn to forgive ourselves for the pain that we have caused to ourselves, and as we learn to forgive those who have inflicted pain upon us, our connections will grow stronger, and our lives will grow happier and healthier and more prosperous. And for this we are truly grateful. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you for spending some time with me today. Hope I fed you the knowledge you needed to go ahead and make your imagination powerful so that it works for you. Please click on the thumbs up button, and if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts, your suggestions. So please use the comment section below the video. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. I am Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this has been On the Wings of Your Mind.